Alright guys, I got this whole home generator right here that a customer brought me. I don't recall how big the unit is. It's a fairly big one. It didn't generate power. For some reason it just stopped generating, and then when the customer dropped it off, he then told me that it only runs for a few seconds too, so that's going to be a little bit of a pain. So when you start it, apparently it only runs a few seconds and then it just keeps kicking out. Let me grab a meter here, just in case I decide I want it for some reason. Alright, so you just hit auto and it should just do everything on its own here. Yeah, that's about it. It just runs a few seconds. I think it'll just keep doing that though. It'll just keep... Yeah. Yeah, it'll just keep doing that and doing that from what I hear. I don't know. There's no trouble codes. There's a whole fault code list here, but not a single... That's kind of annoying. So what's that? That's 3 starts? That's 4 starts. How many will it do? Let's just see if it does. This has 170 volts. What's that, 5 starts? Oh, we got a code. Alright, if you can read it, it says FL4, FC4. FC4, engine does not start. Alright, let's just turn that off. So it doesn't think it's even starting. So I guess the question is how does it know it's running? Because it's obviously running, but it doesn't think it's running. Sorry for the lighting back here, guys. It's just not great. It's not really what we do, but somebody just wanted us to work on it, so I guess that's what we're doing. So I don't really see much for like a tack or a pickup or anything to know that the engine's running. How does it know if it's running? See, when it was running, I had 170 volt on the input side of the contactor. I have the contactor off right now. It's 170 volts, so that's really low voltage. It should be 220 or 240. I wonder, you got these 2 blue wires right here. I wonder if those are supposed to read voltage and then it knows it's running, but it wouldn't read that it's running if the voltage is low. You know what I'm saying? So if the generator is not actually generating anything, that would be why it only runs for a few seconds. And it would never stand a chance because I got this breaker off. But it wouldn't work anyway because it's only 170 volt. So I got the wires unhooked over here. Just come in this way. This is what would go into your house. And there's those 2 wires right there. I'm wondering, I'm gonna try something. I'm wondering if I put 240 to those wires, then the generator would think it's working. And it would probably stay running if it thought it was working, right? And then I'm gonna assume that these wires right here, these smaller ones, are probably the ones that sense voltage. And those would run over to here to that 240. Oh, no? Okay, I got my wires mixed up here. So those two wires that I just showed you are the sensing wires. So that's the bigger blue wires that sense 240 to know when to kick the generator on. That senses when the power goes out in the house. And these two blue wires, I bet you, are the ones that sense whether or not the generator's outputting voltage. And when it's outputting voltage, it knows it's running. And then you wouldn't have this code anymore. So let's try and put 220. I got the breaker off, so you can't put your power into the generator. Let's put 220 to the inbound or the outbound side of this and see if it stays running. I got this extension cord. And then I got this 220 hookup we use for testing motors. It'd be fine. Don't even worry about it. Okay, so then take the spool here. Let's just come over into the light. So here's your outbound wires that would go to the house. I got two of them here. They're a little hard one-handed. Okay. Then I need a jumper to use this. The working theory is I got 220 into this 110 power cord, just don't ask questions. And that will run back into this unit. It'll see 220 instead of 170. And the theory is it will run. We'll find out. If not, then I don't know what these wires do. So let's go put 220 to it and hope she don't go kabloom. .220 on. I didn't hear it blow up. No smoke. No smoke. Alright. So if it starts and stays running, then we can figure out why it's low voltage. And that's why it doesn't run. Oh, we still got that transfer switch. What's wrong there? Okay, so it sees 220 right now. But it doesn't see 220 on the sensing line, so it's smart enough to know that something's wrong with the transfer switch now. So, okay. So what we gotta do is turn that back off. We unplug that. Swap the auto back on. Once it starts, then plug that in so it sees 220 and it thinks it's generating, and we should be good to go. Let's see. Alright, unplug it. So it sees nothing anywhere. Start it, then plug it in, and it should stay running, I think. Working right plugged it, it knew it wasn't generating anymore, and it threw on a trouble code of low frequency. We're not going to worry about that. So just shut it back off. So now we got to figure out, why is it not generating much for power? It's really important to know the working principles of this stuff before you could really work on it, because if you don't know why it's doing what it's doing, how can you really fix it? You know it's doing this because it's low voltage, and that's the reason. So why is it low voltage? Let's figure that one out. Well, we already looked at this side. I didn't see anything in there electrical, so let's check the other side of this. Well, there's your engine. Here's your generator head. This box is interesting. I wonder what's under that. Let's open that bad boy up. Hoping to find capacitors under this cover, but maybe the voltage regulator's under here. I don't know. Hey, there's caps under here. So this cap, this is what a cap's supposed to look like. Looks pretty good. See how it's nice and flat on the top? This is what a cap is not supposed to look like. Bulged, and it's exploded out the bottom. I wonder if that's our problem. Change them in pairs though if you change them. That's they always have equal wear, and you don't want to come back and do it again. I'm not sure what these do. These don't look like they were ever really hooked to anything. Some sort of an accessory. Let's change these caps, see what happens. Yeah, that's definitely exploded. Okay, I don't want to do that no more. Here's a good one. At least it physically looks good. There's a one that doesn't look so physically good. So let's see what I got. These are just 35s, plus or minus 5%. You just go by 35 UF microfarads. Let's test them and see if they're any good. 35. So we got 31.8 on the one that looks good. Let's see what the bad one reads. Nothing. Let's see what we got. 35s. 35s. These are way better quality than those original plastic ones. These are metal. They hold up a lot better. Look at them. Way nicer. Canadian made, mind you. Oh. Well, either I'm stronger than I think I am, and the zip ties are just kind of junky. I'd like to think I'm stronger than I think I am. I'm just gonna say this. You get what you pay for in life, so keep in mind what y'all are paying for this advice. Not that I would even call it advice. What you do is up to you. Cut your pigtails off, don't be an animal. We're a civilized society around here. Man, they'll come out of their heart. Oh man, why are they so wedged in there? Hardest part of this job is getting the darn zip ties out of there. There we go. Alright, I gotta go grab another one because I hulked the other one. It's kind of nice having this out in the shop where you can get to everything rather than still hooked up to the house, but you could still do everything I did if it was hooked to the house. Usually these sit next to the AC units in your house, and those have 220, so I would just run a pigtail to those if it were me. But I suppose if you watch this video, you'll see in a roundabout way that maybe all we had to do was change these caps, if we're lucky. So maybe start there. But at least you got an idea of the working principle now for it. Or my theory anyway, for what it's worth. Well, I think we proved it to be a little more than a theory, because it did work. Suppose if I write it down, it's science at that point. What in the heck is with these zip ties? These are garbage. Alright, don't even look at that zip tie anymore, because it just like to break for no reason. Okay, and then you realize now's when you realize you put these in upside down so these wires don't reach anymore. So I'll fix that. Voila. Gotta hook it back up the way it was. This guy didn't want to stay on there. Oh. Okay. Now I'll tell you a little trick. Don't put it all back together, because if you do, it won't work. Just like if you put all your tools away, it'll still be broken. So what you do is you always leave one tool out or leave the cover off. We're gonna make sure it works. We're just gonna unhook the shot power. So now there's nothing hooked to the outbound lines. And they're not touching together, they're not touching anything. And this breaker's off right now, so it needs to be on, so that way these can pick up voltage, because this is what comes from the generator head right here, and it runs to this breaker, then it runs out. So breaker on. Let's see what happens. Strangely enough, the worst part of this job was those darn zip ties. I've never seen such crappy zip ties in my life. I'm a zip tie connoisseur. There you go.